Good morning, YouTube. No, I am not coal mining this morning. I am actually working on the old Nissan Altima. So this is going to be a little project that I find totally unnecessary, but needs to be done. I'm going to turn the camera around here in just a second and kind of show you what I've got going on. These newer vehicles, they just make them harder and harder to work on, and it's kind of ridiculous, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So let me show you what I got going on. So the bulb for my turn signal has burned out. So how do I get into this? Can't go down through the top like a normal vehicle. Got to go up underneath. So I'll show you what I've got, what I'm looking at, and kind of what I understand has to be done in order to reach the bulb in there. Okay, we're looking underneath the vehicle, and I'm not sure how good this is going to show up, but there's a screw here. There's a screw here, and there's also a rivet that needs to be taken out so I can get this off. They also say on some videos that I've got to get into here, and I see that there's rivets missing here, so I'll kind of see if I can figure out what's holding this on actually, and see if I can get my hand, because if I can get my hand straight in through here, then I can change the bulb and get everything. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. Should be able to get it all taken care of. But a lot of unnecessary taking things on and off, really, I think, just to access a bulb change. Let me turn off this light. So what I've done is I've taken out two screws, and one, I don't know if this is called a rivet, but it helps hold this in place. Somewhere along the line in some sort of maintenance, rivets and screws have failed to be put back in here, but I should be able to kind of pry this out, get my hand in here in order to be able to change that bulb. You see I've got the wheel turned all the way to the right. The passenger side of the car allows me the access here. So let me see if I can kind of pry this back a little bit without tearing anything up. Oh yeah. Hang on, let me turn the camera around. Okay, I made a pretty interesting discovery looking into this, and it's not graphic. There's a dead bird inside my car here, so I'm just going to show you that. But if you want to fast forward 20-30 seconds or whatever, if you're not into seeing the interesting things you find when you work on your car, this is your warning for that. So let me show you what I found. This wheel well cover, I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if it's focusing. Little bird, I must have struck it, and it must have come up through what you can see in that crack there. And that's where the rivet goes, those two holes, straight above the bird's head. So I'm going to reach in here. I don't know if you can really see that assembly back in there. That's where the light bulb is changed. You just twist those out like a normal any other typical turn signal assembly or brake light assembly. And let me get this done. I'll show you what I got. Okay, I'm just going to kind of let the video camera run while I do this. You're not going to be able to see in there, but I'll kind of show you what I got going when I get it all done. Here's another, looks like a piece of some sort of soup can or something like that. That was in the car here. As well as a dead bird. Been dead for a while. Alrighty. So this, try to get my light in there. So this just unplugs, unplugs from this assembly. You just pull this light bulb out and replace it. That's what I'm going to do now. Pretty typical on any project I do on a car. The light bulb I have in my hand is the original, the light bulb that was provided to me by the auto parts store. Doesn't match up, so I'll have to run to the parts store, get the right one. This housing right here prevents this light bulb from being used, so you can kind of see the difference there. So I guess I'll push pause on this and come back in a little bit. So I just give a little shout out to O'Reilly's Auto Parts. Evidently people must really raise quite the stink when they get the wrong part or something. You know, we're talking about a light bulb pack, you know, a 2-pack, no biggie. There's, with the model of Altima that I have, there's a couple different options in that year range, and the guy just grabbed the wrong one. You know, I mean, it's hard to know. I didn't have my original with me when I bought the bulbs because I hadn't got into it yet, so, you know, no biggie. And the guy was really apologetic, and I said, man, dude, it's okay, you know, no worries. I thought we were just going to swap them out, and ended up, he had to ring it up, and I think I got 54 cents back in change, which I kind of laughed at because it doesn't matter, you know, 50 cents, whatever. And he said, no, I got to do it for inventory. Apologized again. I said, no worries. Get me back on the road, you know. So I'm heading back. We'll swap this out and should be good to go here in just a couple minutes. All right, I got that new bulb. I don't know that you're going to really be able to see it. I'm just going to plug it in here. All right. Before I put it back into the housing, I'm going to test it. Let me go turn that signal on really quick. And you can see it flashing down there, so I think we're good. I'll put that back in that housing. I think we'll be good to go. So I know you're not really going to be able to see much here, but I'm going to go ahead and get all this fastened back together. That rivet's going to go over here, and the screws are going to go here and here. And this is going to be a pain in the ass to do. These rivets, I'm not a big fan of these rivets at all. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Doggone. Alright, let me take a couple looks at this and we'll get it figured out. Okay, so easiest way to do that is not screw this in so this piece is loose. Got that rivet in. I'll put these two screws in and we should be good to go. I'm not a big fan of all this kind of stuff. You know, you really shouldn't have to. I did not jack the car up at all, and you shouldn't have to, just to change a turn signal. But you got to do what you got to do, and I'm one screw away from being done. And of course, when you got big old meat hooks like I got, it's a pain in the butt. Probably would be easier if you know, just put a couple pumps on your jack, hydraulic jack, raise this up a little bit, give you a little more working room. But we can get it done. You don't want to over tighten these screws. Everything's good. I'll double check that turn signal. It's looking good. I'll give it a thumbs up if you can see it. So these were all things I found in this housing right in there. Bird, part of a can, and some tread off a tire. It's just amazing what gets kicked up underneath your car and how it gets in there. So that's it. Kind of a long drawn out tutorial maybe on how to change out a turn signal on a 2014 Nissan Altima. Really, this car, knock on wood, has really been a pretty dependable car. I think it's kind of a hassle that Nissan's got it configured this way to change out that bulb. But you know, if you had the right part and you weren't videotaping, start to finish, max 15 minutes. You know, real simple, easy change, and just take your time. Pop out those screws, those rivets. Mine were missing some rivets up in that wheel well liner. The way those rivets work is you pop up the center piece and it usually will pull right out. And then to put it back in, you leave that middle piece extended. Push that housing in there, push that down, and it kind of flares out the bottom end of that rivet. So straightforward, pretty easy 2014 Nissan Altima turn signal repair and replacement, I guess. And that's all there is to it. Until next time, who's your piper?